Hey there gang, hope you're having an excellent day. Kawaii50 here with another Honkai Star Rail video, and I was originally going to do a Firefly video. That was my initial thought. However, looking at Firefly and having some time to play around in Divergent Universe, as you'll see in the footage I'll show today, as well as just get to try the Super Break Team, this has got to be a Super Break Team video instead, because this in general has completely flipped Star Rail on its head, and it deserves to be talked about. So like, comment, subscribe, share, etc., because this is essentially going to be the gush video. Now I gotta say, Super Break is without a doubt Acheron tier, and it is strange for me to say that considering basically how recent Acheron was upon arriving to the game. But Penacony has just been popping incredible characters like directly into our lap, and my gosh, is it absolutely noticeable. We've got one of the best sustains in the game now in the form of Aventurine. We've of course got Acheron doing some absolutely incredible damage, ignoring resistances. You'll see a trend when it comes to that, when it comes to just being able to deal break damage regardless of what the enemy's weaknesses are. And now we've got Firefly. But even before Firefly, we had a very crazy powerful Super Break team already. Now, you may not have had a chance to try this one in particular unless you're really pushing hard into pure fiction, but I, through my own experimentation myself, have seen that Himiko has had a lot of new life breathed into her. I would honestly call her a good alternate to Firefly. Of course, not the budget alternate to Firefly, that would be Shui Yi. But Himiko has had amazing new life breathed into her, and I highly recommend trying her if you're up against specifically fire weakness enemies and you don't have Firefly. The potential that Super Break has brought to us and these three Super Break focused characters is absurd. Of course, I'm talking about the holy trinity of Star Rail support right now, and two of them being 4 stars, one of them easily obtainable. That's going to be our Harmony Trailblazer, Ronmei, as well as Gallagher. And a lot of this hype and praise coming from me directly has to go towards Harmony Trailblazer, because without the design of Harmony Trailblazer, none of this would be possible. Now, if you haven't gotten to Penacony yet, Harmony Trailblazer is a brand new support character you're going to end up getting. They are absolutely incredible, allowing your team to get increased break effect and deal super break damage. Super break damage, of course, allowing us to deal damage to our enemies based on our break effect stat. Whatever we would have done to the break bar, well, that is the damage that is going to be dealt to our enemies, augmented and all that, what have you. It essentially adds an amazing amount of damage you can deal while your enemies are weakness broken. And this release was an incredible boon for characters like Gallagher. Now, Gallagher, of course, didn't seem very interesting upon release before Harmony Trailblazer showed up. I ended up essentially calling him a budget version of Luocha, especially if you got some extra Eidolons in there so he could cleanse some debuffs from your allies. But Gallagher has reached incredible heights with the support of the Harmony Trailblazer. His ultimate now deals insane damage to everyone if they are super broken or just shreds their break bars to begin with. And then of course we have his enhanced basic attack, which not only heals, but on top of that, crazy damage when it comes to being affected by Super Break. It is a strange world that we have such a potent healer who is not only a damage dealer in basically honor due to what Harmony Trailblazer has brought to the table, but he's also a 4-star. He is also fairly easily obtainable compared to a lot of other characters. This in general I feel like is incredible for free-to-play players or players that necessarily don't want to spend a lot of Stellar Jade. Maybe they're saving up, have a character that they're gunning for, because you just need to get at least one copy of Gallagher, and you're gonna be overall pretty good as long as you're paired with the Harmony Trailblazer. Now, are additional copies of Gallagher welcome? Of course, absolutely. There are plenty of reasons to get additional copies of Gallagher. Those Eidolons are incredibly potent. I would definitely recommend that if you're trying to get additional Eidolons for her, E2 and E4 are absolutely stunning bonuses for the man. But, my gosh, it's just Having a healer that is essentially another damage dealer on your team, dealing damage in that short window, well, you're going to be able to go ahead and push yourself through a lot of more difficult content. But if you happen to really like to summon 5-star characters, there's one particular 5-star character that still remains one of the most powerful supports in the game, and that is going to be Ron Mei. Now, Ron Mei has been basically the queen of support in Honkai Star Rail ever since her release. The way she is able to buff the entire party's damage, speed, and break efficiency, while also delaying their recovery when they are attempting to come out of weakness break, like, that power cannot be overstated. That power has singularly allowed people to run some incredible teams, incredible team comps, and if you're looking at clear rates for things like Memories of Chaos, Pure Fiction, and the new Apocalyptic Shadow mode, well, she's basically always featured in some of the top teams. And despite, her being an everyman, I would say she is even more powerful specifically on the Super Break team. The Super Break team in and of itself is where she is able to strut her stuff the most. And a lot of that comes with the fact that she's able to force her enemies to stay in break state for longer. Having your enemies be able to stay in that break state for longer means that your team is going to be able to deal a very large amount of Super Break damage, more than even previously. And having the ability to do this, to have a longer window to hit your burst damage, can mean for a lot of players in more difficult content the difference between victory or defeat. I would highly recommend, if you don't have Ron Mei, you attempt to go for her on whatever banner she's on. I know she's up right now. A lot of people have really been going for her. I would say that you should make her your priority if you haven't yet. The abilities she is able to bring to your team, the potential, even the potential you see showing up in a Super Break team, cannot be overstated. When her buffs are off, my Firefly's damage drips exponentially. It dips so far down. Of course, you can sub with Asta if you don't end up having Ron Mei. Asta ends up being an excellent generalist support, especially for newer players just starting the game. If you have any intent of doing incredibly difficult content, of clearing your way through all of Golden Gears, of clearing your way through all of Divergent Universe, 12-starring everything every single week, you're basically going to need to get yourself a Ron Mei. It's absolutely non-negotiable. And now at this point, I think you're understanding why I needed to do this particularly instead of a Firefly video, why I needed to spread this word rather than just talk about Firefly. Is Firefly an incredibly powerful character? Oh my gosh, yes, she's one of the top DPS in the game. She has the ability to implant fire weaknesses, which we know implanting weaknesses was one of the best things that Silverwolf could bring to any team. It was absolutely absurd. We didn't think that any character might ever get that feature in the future, and here Firefly ends up bringing that to the table. She deals incredible Super Break damage. She weakness breaks regardless of their weaknesses, even if she's unable to implant any of that fire weakness. It is absolutely absurd the things she is able to do, even just on her own. But when you pair Firefly with this Super Break team, even just these two 4-star characters, non-5-star characters, that is when you have some of the potential for success. So, should you pull for Firefly? I think it's absolutely worth it to pull for Firefly if you want to maximize the effectiveness of the Super Break team. She is absolutely the pinnacle, and having one Acheron team and one Firefly team is basically going to guarantee you can clear absolutely any content you want, even the ones that require multiple teams. I have heard some people say you probably shouldn't go for Firefly if you haven't summoned Ron Mei, and I don't necessarily think I'd agree with that. Of course, you want to pull for the characters you want. If Firefly is the character you want more than Ron Mei, definitely go for her. You can sub in Asta. Just don't think you're going to be hitting the absolutely absurd numbers that Firefly would have if a Ron Mei was on the team. The ability she brings to the team is absolutely overwhelming. She is probably the best character in the game in general, even if you would consider, what she does a little boring, just because she's able to enable absolutely any team you could possibly want to run. Any rarity, any characters, Ron Mei is able to provide that. So that's the main point, where all that thought is coming from. People are just like, yeah, your Firefly is going to be dealing numbers, but she's going to be dealing numbers if you end up pairing her with Ron May. So if you haven't leveled the Super Break team, I would highly recommend you end up getting on that. Do those Penacony quests, try to get your Harmony Trailblazer to at least E4, pick up yourself a Gallagher if you haven't already. It is going to bring you a very fascinating team that I think is honestly going to have longevity. Are we probably going to get a 5-star version of Gallagher? Probably. Are we probably going to be getting a 5-star version of Harmony Trailblazer? Probably. Are they still going to end up being fairly effective options going into the future of this game? Yes. Is there another DPS we're going to get that's going to utilize Super Break in the future? I would absolutely count on it. We are definitely getting more characters that can make use of Super Break in the future. So go ahead, prepare yourself. And if you haven't gotten to Penacony yet, well, get excited. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. Let me know what you think of the Super Break team. Let me know if you're able to run it with Firefly, or if you're running it with someone like, Himiko. Maybe you're running it with a Jing Yuan to try to hit everybody. Maybe you're running it with Zhui Yi because you're using the best budget option and she really, really benefits from break effect. Let me know what teams you're running with the Super Break team. And if you haven't tried it out yet, give it a try. And then let me know your thoughts in the comments. I promise you won't be disappointed. Big thank you to everyone on the Discord, Patreon, and the Ko-fi. I appreciate all of the support that you've all provided. And a massive thanks to you here on YouTube for watching this video to the very end. Anyways, gang, that's it for me, Kawaii50. I hope you all have a phenomenal day, and I will see you all in the next one.